everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. If this is your first time visiting, then hello, and my name is Rebecca, and make sure if you're not subscribed already to click on this subscribe button and to click that little bell so that you can get notifications of all of my crochet tutorials. So in this one I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful mini corner to corner. Now it's called a mini corner to corner because traditionally it is done with treble crochets or double if you're in the US, whereas this one is done with half treble crochets. So it's a nice simple one. It is the same method as all of the corners, but obviously I will take you through that step by step. So let's just jump straight in with the mini corner to corner. So that was the James C. Brett Party Time Chunky in shade PT6. So it's really nice, bright, chunky yarn, and it would work up really well in that C2C, as you can see. So you're going to start with your slip knot on your hook. I'm obviously using the recommended 6mm hook for this chunky yarn. So we want to start with a chain of 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that is our starting chain. And then just like you do with the regular corner to corner, we're going to work into 3 of these chains that we have just done. So you're going to be working into the 3rd chain back from your hook. So 1, 2 and 3. So this is your 3rd chain. And we're going to be using half treble crochet. So remember, I'm using UK terms here. In the US, this is your half double crochet. So you'll yarn over, insert into that 3rd chain, yarn over and pull up, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all of those loops. Again, you'll do a half treble into the next stitch, so yarn over, go into that next chain, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then you've got one final chain which you will do the same into, so a half treble into that very final chain, so yarn over and pull through all of those loops, and that is our first block completed. So now you want to turn so that your starting chains that you skipped are facing that way. And we want to chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want your chain to be on the same side as your slip knot from the very beginning. That's how you'll know if you've turned the correct way. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again now. So 3rd chain back from your hook. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to put your first half treble into that 3rd chain. So remember, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then 1 into the next chain, and then 1 into that final chain. So that's your next block. Now again, you want to make sure that your slip knot is still facing on the same side as what your chains were that you've just completed, and then into the chain space from the skip chains at the beginning of the row that we did before, you're going to pop your hook into, so it'll be after your 3 half trebles, you'll have those chains. So insert your hook into the space in those chains and slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through both loops. You're then going to chain 2, which is your height of your half treble stitch. And then into this chain space that you've just slipped into, you're going to put 3 half trebles. So yarn over into that chain space and do 3 half trebles. So that's 1, 2 and 3. So that is how you should be looking at the end of that row. And then again, you'll turn and chain 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then again, exactly the same principle. You're going to half treble into the 3rd chain from the hook, and then the next 2 as well. So yarn over, find that 3rd chain and half treble, and then into the next 2, and then into that 3rd and final one, 3. Okay, and then again, so they're going to start looking at little steps, and then you're going to find that chain space again. So you'll have your 3 half trebles, and then you'll slip stitch into that chain space. So you'll slip stitch, and then you'll start your next block by chaining 2, and then into that chain space you'll do 3 half trebles. So into that chain space, 1, 2, 3, and then again you're going to be ready to slip stitch into that next chain space at the end of the next block. So slip stitch, chain 2, and complete your final block of this row by doing your 3 half trebles into that chain space. 1, 2, 3. So you can see now it's starting to build up. So I'll show you one more row. So again, turn. You can chain before you turn, it really doesn't matter. It's personal preference. So you do your chain 5, and then you can turn if you wish, or you can turn and then chain 5. But it will always be the same, that you will half treble into that 3rd chain from your hook, and then into the next 2 chains as well. And then once you've completed those 3 half trebles, you'll slip stitch into that chain 2 space and chain 2, and then you'll create your next block with your 3 half trebles into that chain space. 1, 2, 3, and then again slip stitch into your next chain 2 space after this block and chain 2, and then your 3 half trebles in that space. And then again your final slip stitch to this last block of that round from the row before. So slip stitch into that chain 2 space, chain 2, and complete your final block in that space. So your 3 half trebles again. Okay, so that's how we're looking now, and you'll just repeat that row over and over again until your project gets to the width that you want it to be. So if you want to do that now, you can rewind or pause and then meet me when you're ready to start your decreases. So I've worked up quite a few more rows now, and you can really see how that is looking, and we're ready now to start the decrease. So when you start your decrease for your corner to corner square, you will turn your work, and then you will see that you've got the tops of these stitches from the last row. So you've got the tops of these 3 half trebles. So you want to just mind that end out of the way and insert your hook into that very first stitch, so the top of that very first half treble, and slip stitch. That's 1. Into the top of the next stitch, you'll slip stitch again, go through the whole of the stitch, making sure to catch the V. So slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the top of that final half treble. So you'll have 3 slip stitches there now, and then you're at your chain 2 space. So you'll slip stitch into that chain 2 space, and then you'll start your row here. So you'll chain 2 and start your row with your first block. So you'll do your 3 half trebles. So you're not going to be doing any more chains of 5 on the decreased rows. So you'll start with that first block like so. So if I lay that flat, you can see there now that is going to start closing off into your square. So again then you'll slip stitch to the chain 2 of your next block, and you will complete as normal, and then join me as you're getting towards the end of your row, and we will decrease on that side as well. Okay, so I'm at the point now where I've got these 2 blocks left. So normally we would work into the chain 2 on this one and the chain 2 on this one, but not this time. We're going to work as normal into this second to last one, so I'll do that now. So I'll slip stitch and complete this final block. Got that nice hot pink coming through now. Okay, so once you've completed that very final block, you want to slip stitch into that chain 2, and this is normally where we would complete our final block, but this is where we're going to stop, and we're going to turn, and then again you want to find the top of your 3 half trebles, so 1, 2 and 3, and slip stitch into each of those. So 1, 2, and 3, and then slip stitch into that chain 2 space, where you will then start your first block of the row with your chain 2. And again I'll put that down, and you can see now it is starting to square off there and square off that way as well. So you'll continue that row now, and then again I will meet you as you get towards the end of this row, and I will just show you one last time that decrease on the other side as well, and then I will meet you one final time to show you how to completely finish. Okay, so you can see now that I have completed my block here, and I've slip stitched to this chain 2. So now we have got this final block to complete, because we're obviously decreasing on this side as well. So we will do our chain 2 and complete this block as normal. And then again you will slip stitch to that chain 2 space, turn, and then again slip stitch into the top of those 3 half trebles. So you should be able to repeat that over and over again now until you get really close to the end of your work, which is where I will meet you in a second, and we will finish off together. Turn one final time. You can see I've got space for one final block just here, so I will slip stitch to it as normal with my 3 slip stitches into those half treble crochets, slip stitch into the chain 2, and then chain 2, and I'm going to complete this final block as normal with my 3 half trebles, and then you will slip stitch into that chain 2 space, chain 1, snip off your yarn and then pull that tail out, and then you will have your finished mini corner to corner. So I really hope that that has been a helpful tutorial for you, and I will see you again for another one really soon. But thanks as always for watching, and bye for now.